Guess which franchise got another 3 18+ diorama sets dedicated to it? You guessed it, it's the Lego Star Wars, but more specifically, the original trilogy. Hooray! And starting off today, we will be doing our Jedi training, hence, again, why I'm using my lightsaber. So Lego is releasing a small wave of 3 18+ diorama sets, and today I wanted to take a look at the Dagobah Jedi Training, which honestly, I'm personally very excited for. Believe it or not, this is the first time I've been able to get a Lego Yoda minifigure. For some reason, I just put him on the backbench and never got one, so that was fantastic. I also missed out on the earlier Yoda's hut, so this set to me is extremely appealing. I've also seen a meme saying it looks like Shrek's swamp, so I'm gonna try and turn it into Shrek's swamp in another video, but personally, I'm quite excited. It's got 1,000 pieces exactly, which, don't be fooled, 177 of them are just 1x1 transparent green tiles for like the slime, which really could have been done with some longer tile pieces, but that's fine. But this is set 75330 and will retail for $80 US at 120 Australian, and very kindly allows you to replicate the bad lip sync video on YouTube. It is actually currently available to pre-order, so I will leave an affiliate link to go and do that in the description down below. It will greatly help support the channel, so thank you if you do use that. Now personally, this set gets me really excited. I feel like it's a pretty reasonable size, which is good. I also love the fact that the X-Wing wing sort of hangs out of it, and you get R2-D2 with back printing. I mean, that is now a consistent thing across this range of sets, but this R2-D2 specifically is dirty, so good for him. Now, Lego was kind enough to send me this set, which I'm super excited for. I didn't ever think I was gonna get sent another Star Wars set, so that's really exciting. So let's go and have a look at it.
Rockin', rockin' and rollin'. Down to the beach I'm strolling. But the seagulls poking my head, not fun. I said, seagulls, stop it now.
So first up we have Jedi Master Yoda himself, and he is the exact same version as Yoda's hut. There is nothing different or special here. This personally is my first version of Yoda, so I'm really excited to get this minifigure, though I guess it would have been nice to sort of have a slightly different torso print or a tiny bit more detailing on him. Then again, I feel like there's not too much more that can be done to Yoda in order to improve him at this point. Next up is Luke Skywalker, and he is smack bang in the middle of his Jedi training. I really like this version. It's interesting though that they've done hip printing for him here. I feel like it's not really sort of that noticeable or that interestingly of a detail, but it is much appreciated nevertheless. I also love the detailing on the pants, and the torso looks incredible, not to mention just his brand new face. I love the Force face that he's got, but also his sort of more scared and worried training side. I think he looks incredible overall, and it's really nice to get this much detail on a minifigure. And lastly, we have the dirty R2-D2, who's got mud splattered all over his head and his torso. And just like the one in the trash compactor, this R2-D2 does actually feature back printing for the first time ever, which is fantastic, way overdue, and I love the way it looks. Even though this is a dirty version of R2-D2, it's really nice that they put in that extra detail for this set. Here's the set all built up, and I personally really like it, though it honestly sort of reminds me of the Jane Goodall sort of tribute promotion that just came out. I don't know. I think it's just sort of very similar in style. I mean, both have got the trees with like the little leaves and the seaweed bits hanging around, not to mention the translucent sort of lakes and little islands. That's just sort of what I thought. These diorama sets in general seem to remind me a lot of the promotions. I mean, even the Trench Run one does with like the May the 4th promotion that came out, but it's just sort of a more put together and classy version. The thing I love most about these sets though is definitely these printed tiles at the front. We first saw them when the Jurassic Park set got revealed, and I'm really glad that they also included them in the Star Wars sets. They look spectacular. The one thing I didn't like about this set though is the building process. You'll see there is a lot of 1x1 pieces. This entire thing is all 1x1 tiles. In fact, there are 177 of these sort of translucent tiles. Then there's also the translucent plates, not to mention all of the little studs around here, and it just gets very repetitive and very boring. Even just constructing the base is slightly just repetitive. I mean, it's definitely not as bad as the top. I really feel like there could have been some longer tiles used here, like a 1x8, a 1x10, a 1x4 even, just to cut down the building process, and also it saves the amount of pieces. I'm not sure why 1x1s are chosen, but it was incredibly tedious. Now, there aren't any play features with this set, but at the end of the day, it is meant to be displayed. Some of my favorite features, though, definitely include the X-Wing that is half sticking out of the slime. I love that detail. I think it's incredibly neat. There's also this tiny little clear clip for Luke to sort of force float on and do a handstand, which I think is spectacular. You can also access the back of the hut when you turn the model around and sort of get a look at the interior, which is really neat and I'm really appreciative of. There's a lot of really neat details. I also really like the color scheme of this, especially when you get to the trees and you've got a mix of dark brown and reddish brown and even just roots coming out of the hut. I think it looks spectacular, not to mention all of the sort of greenery pieces and weeds that are placed around the outside of it. Now, like I said, there is a slight interior to Yoda's hut, but space is incredibly minimal here. You've got a tiny pot of stew. You can also see Yoda's lightsaber hanging from the roof, and there's even Yoda's bed where I guess he sort of falls asleep. However, Yoda can't actually fit in there. Space is incredibly tight, and no matter how hard you try, he will not get in there, which is quite unfortunate, actually. I wish it was just made a tiny bit taller. However, he can sort of stand around in there and does look pretty good to scale, even though I'm pretty sure he is actually too tall to stand inside his own house, which is quite unfortunate. But at least there is a slight interior for you to sort of look around at, because at the end of the day, again, this isn't a playset. The rest of the model, though, from the back is very bare bones. I mean, I'm not surprised. You're not really going to see it. It doesn't really matter, but it is at least nice that you can look inside the hut. I'm a really big fan of this overall hut design. I love the fact that there's some smoke as well coming out of the hut on the left-hand side. Overall, just all of the curved pieces look incredible. I love the use of those sort of smaller ones around the front. I think it looks incredible. There's also a sort of section on a hinge piece up here in order to create that smooth curved roof. Even just these round pieces all topped off with one of those spears. I think it looks incredible, just built into the tree. It's amazing, especially for a display set. I think it looks great. It's also a massive step up from the playset Yoda's hut released a couple of years ago. I'm a really big fan. I do not like, though, just the random snake that was sort of thrown in there. You could probably do without him. He doesn't even attach to it, so you can just luckily remove him pretty easily. Another neat detail on the hut actually is using these sort of like curved pieces, I guess they're sort of like wheel covers, in order to create windows with some cheese slope pieces. I thought that design detail was absolutely genius, and I think it looks incredible as well and still blends in really nicely with the shape and the design of the hut in general. The last detail I want to talk about is the inclusion of Yoda's little outdoor camp sort of area, where you've got a sort of lantern here as well as a torch. I mean, to me it sort of looks like also a lightsaber. I'm not entirely sure what this is supposed to be, but I like the inclusion nevertheless, that you've sort of covered all of the areas of the Dagobah Jedi Training besides the actual sort of Dagobah forest itself. But then again, I don't expect that from a set like this nor this price point. Now, this set might have a horrible name, but it definitely doesn't look horrible. In fact, this set is pretty gorgeous. I love the design of it overall, and I feel like you capture both sort of like Yoda's hut, but also just the environment of Dagobah really nicely in this sort of little diorama scale. At the price point, I feel like it's pretty in line with a lot of other LEGO Star Wars sets as well, so that is fantastic. It's just a very tedious build process, and the fact that there's not really much of an interior. Then again, this is an 18+ display set, complete with nice little printed tiles, which are amazing and honestly one of the highlights of the set for me personally. I think it's worth picking up, especially if you missed out on the last Yoda's hut like myself. I think this is a great set, or you're an adult and like display pieces. This is beautiful. The hut itself, fun build. It's just all of these painful tiles. It's really not that fun. It's quite tedious. I mean, if you've got Empire Strikes Back on in the background, maybe it's a bit more fun. But like I said, I will leave affiliate links to pre-order this set off lego.com in the description down below if you want to get it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below, especially if you want me to try and turn this into Shrek Swamp. But until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Guess which franchise got another set of LEGO Star Wars sets dedicated? I just sort of spoiled it, didn't I? Let's try again.